Welcome to Playful Podcast, your guide into the underground scene where we discover topics on kink and electronic music every week. Don't forget to subscribe to not miss out on our next episode. We're excited to be here today with the Hungarian and Finnish DJ and producer Grace Dal, who's based in Amsterdam and known for her powerful hypnotic techno. In this conversation, we speak about her personal change from going back to who she was as a teenager and the change to who she's become today, which is someone with much more self-confidence, attitude, and drive. We also compare the scenes in Berlin and Amsterdam and speak about the quick growth of the scene and its effects, as well as the responsibility DJs have or don't have when playing. Let's get to it. I am Amanda, and this is Playful Podcast. I'm so happy to have you here. Thank you so much for coming in for Playful Podcast. We're so excited.
I'm happy to be here.
Yay. Okay, I'm so excited to just dive in.
Let's dive in.
Yeah? Okay, because I know you are very stubborn. And I guess that's something that also took you where you are now. Mm-hmm. But what are 3 other words that you would describe yourself with?
Ambitious. Definitely free-spirited as well. And what's another good word to describe myself? Well, creative, but that's a little bit boring, I think. But yeah, I would say that. Ambitious, free-spirited, creative. Yeah.
Yeah. Were you the same when you were a teenager? Or?
I think I always was. But when I was a teenager, I was quite angry with the world. Like I was having my puberty times 1,000, it seemed like. Due to all kinds of circumstances. So I don't think it was able to shine through. But then at a later age, when I was 16, 17, I started doing internships. I was studying fashion management. And from those internships, I had a few managers that really believed in me. Besides, of course, my parents were always quite supportive, but to have other adults that could see that you were capable of doing things, and that kind of built my confidence. And that's when that really started shining through, and I became tirelessly ambitious and 100% believing in myself, and total confidence.
Wow. Yeah, it's interesting how some people can have that effect on you.
Yeah, I don't even think they know.
No, exactly. Was it like teachers or
managers at an internship? I had to for fashion management, I had to work in stores to kind of prepare you to be a manager of a store. And I don't actually think I ever told them, the 2 people that made such an impact. Maybe I should do that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, just now thinking of it.
It's actually nice.
Yeah, but she was definitely, Marta was her name. She is her name. She was definitely one of the people to really make me see that I'm more capable than I thought so. Yeah.
Those people are gold.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because teachers were not it.
No. It's rare. I mean, yeah.
I had a few. There was maybe one that sometimes took me aside, what's going on? Why are you acting this way? Yeah, and what were you taking in when you, as a teenager, in what way did you take out your frustrations? Was it political or just very cranky and angry and just everything was no, and why do we do it like that? Questioning everything, which is not bad, I would say, in the basis, but questioning it in a negative light. Just all the time, just going against, in Dutch we would say being tegendraads. You're just going against the grain. Even if it makes sense. Okay.
You sound like a badass. Were you the cool kid?
I don't know. I think people, at least what I know from friends, people were kind of scared.
Love it.
Yeah. Now thinking it's kind of funny, but yeah, people didn't want to pick a fight because I was always very loudmouth, and I mean, I'm not proud of it. I think you should be. I think it sounds amazing. It sounds like you have, your boundaries then. That was 100% sure.
Yeah. And I mean, that's something we all gotta learn, especially as female identifying.
Yeah. And I think that's something that has always been my strength.
Yeah.
And my friends also have told me a lot that it has helped them sometimes, and not so much my teenage years, but now more in the present time, that it helps them to also become a little bit more, to stand up for what they believe in and what they want to do. So I'm happy that I could contribute in that way.
Yeah. But you were born in Budapest, but then you moved to Marbella when you were 1.
Yes.
Until you were 8?
8, 9 years old, something like that.
How was it to live there?
It as a child, what I remembered was just palm trees, beaches, private English school, uniforms.
School uniforms?
School uniforms.
Oh my God, amazing.
Yeah, I went to Swan School, and it was a nice experience, but just if I think about it now, it definitely is in a bubble, and quite a privileged bubble, so to say. But that's what my parents wanted for me. They wanted that I have the best chances for my future. So that's partially why we moved there, and also because my grandmother from my mom's side was already living there, so it was kind of like a organic move. But looking back now, I'm very happy that we moved to Amsterdam eventually. I think it definitely builds character.
Tell me more.
Well, I mean, especially growing up in Amsterdam, the city center, you come into contact with a lot of things that maybe you definitely would not come in contact with in Marbella. That's 100% sure. Just the diversity of people, that's already just...
Everything, basically. Yeah.
Just that already. It's also funny because I don't go out now. Like the older I got, the less I went out. But I did go out a lot when I was very young.
And you did?
Yeah. So it's not completely true when I say that, I never raved or something, because I did, but I was just very young. And that's something that I think is a little bit more common in Amsterdam. Maybe in Berlin too, by the way.
Yeah, probably.
Just because it's so saturated.
Yeah, it's available.
It's available.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so did you just stop enjoying partying?
I think I was too young to ever enjoy it in the first place. I actually think if I wouldn't have done that I would have enjoyed it way more at the age I'm at now. So I think because of the experiences I had when I was young, and my dad always said, I mean, I've said many times in interviews that I had quite an open-minded upbringing.
Yeah.
It was okay for me to experiment and do things and find my way. But he always said that just wait until you're older, because you don't have money. You don't have the brain yet. It's not like developed to understand what's going on, let alone taking certain substances. It's not going to do anything for you. But yeah, I didn't listen, so. But in a way...
I was just going to ask you, so did you listen to... But
not really.
No, that's the thing. But eventually, maybe the word sticks somehow, even though...
Well, now for sure, I know he was right. And I never experimented very heavily. It was definitely to a certain degree. But I just think he's absolutely right. You have to be a little bit more mature to even understand what's going on and to enjoy the experience. Because you have to also be... Not necessarily, but I think you'll enjoy it more if you're confident in yourself and you have your life a little bit going somewhere, and as a 13-year-old going to drum and bass raves, I mean...
How cool were you, though?
I don't know, it was cool, but yeah.
I just feel you, with an attitude and into drum and bass and, doing it your way. Yeah, what's your relationship to drum and bass these days?
I love it still.
Yeah?
Yeah. And I met my partner of 10 years at a drum and bass party when I was 15. We're still together. And I always love it. Whenever I hear drum and bass or jungle, and he listens to it quite a lot still, my boyfriend. And I have my phases where I listen to it again. But I would love to play a drum and bass set one time.
Yeah?
I really would, but it's hard to mix with techno. Because of the BPM differences.
Yeah.
I know there's a way of mixing it, but it's not easy. But I would just love to play a full drum and bass set one time. Somewhere. Who knows?
All right.
Yeah.
Excited for that one.
Yeah.
Maybe you do it in a hair set or something. Who knows?
Yeah. Multifaceted.
Yeah. No, but you mentioned that your family that they have been very open-minded and these things, and that's also something you said about yourself. Is it also religiously hippie kind of vibes?
Pretty much.
Religion, I mean.
Pretty much.
Spirit,
it's like absolutely not religious.
No.
So, but religious in a certain way. Example, my mom is, and because of her, probably I am too. She's very into the universe and being connected with the universe, and I definitely feel the same way. So we connect in that a lot. Both my parents don't really believe in, well, they believe in medicine to a certain degree, of course, but they prefer to always try to find homeopathic ways. So as a child, it was also like, if I had a headache or something, it's not the first thing you got was a ibuprofen or aspirin, you know? It's first like, okay, maybe did you have enough water today?
Yeah. Same in
my... You have to eat something, you know? So, it's a different kind of approach in that way. It's not super hippie, but in a way, I mean, I'm definitely very privileged to have had and have the parents that I do have and have always supported what I wanted to do. And it made me even sometimes forget that there are a lot of people that don't have that support. Yeah. So sometimes I've felt like, because I share a lot now with my parents and especially with my dad, of course, you know, us doing the back-to-back and him showing his support and all of that stuff. And sometimes I felt a little bit guilty because I've received then messages like, oh, it's so lovely to see because my parents don't want to speak to me anymore because I have wanted to devote my life to DJing. And they say no, because I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, you know, and they're like, no, it's like lovely to see. Yeah. But it does make me realize like, okay, this is not as normal as it was for me.
Yeah, no.
You know, so it's
not to be taken for granted. I mean.
Definitely not.
And its effects, as well as the responsibility DJs have or don't have when playing. Let's get to it. I am Amanda, and this is Playful Podcast.
Because your dad is also into techno.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially now.
Yeah. Okay, fun.
Yeah, because when he was DJing, he was more into progressive house, which is not, of course, a progressive house that we know today, you know, like the EDM and stuff, but the progressive house from the 80s, 90s. And now he basically got re-inspired from the music that I've been playing, and I show him sets of very talented DJs, but also my friends like Lobster, and he's just like, wow, this is like jazz. So he actually calls it jazz techno.
That's actually very it's a great connection. Yeah.
It has the same kind of like almost sometimes off rhythms as jazz. So yeah, he got re-inspired. So now he's totally into techno, and everything that I play or everything that I show him, he's just like, wow. And all the productions of Matisse Lenne or Alarico, you know, he's just like, wow, this. He said, where has this been all my life, you know?
Wow, that is so fun and fantastic also that, you know, you get new music genres, like passionate about new things. Yeah. Even later in life.
Yeah.
Awesome. But he's probably not that old even. So.
Well, 60, I hope. 63.
Yeah, it's pretty young.
Pretty young.
Yeah. Okay. But you got more like I was going to say awakening was at Awakenings.
Yeah.
So stupid. Okay, but
it's kind of true though. It is fact, yeah. It was a UK hard special, and I think it was just because of the type of techno that it was that it like clicked for me, because before that I basically actually got into techno because of my boyfriend. He became quite the fan of Joseph Capriati and Adam Beyer, and then because we were always into drum and bass, and then he was putting on their mixes in the car, and I was just like, boring, snooze fest, you know. I was just like, yeah, it's just all the time, you know. And then we started going to techno parties, but they were more melodic and quite slow and even kind of housey, which was alright, but it was not, didn't really tickle my fancy. And then we went to the UK Hard Special, and then I was like, okay, cool. I get it now.
Did it just come all at once? Do you remember what gig you were at?
It was definitely Rebecca. I did remember. I used to remember it, but now I don't remember. But it was very good.
Yeah.
That I do remember.
And it did something for you. Was that also, or like, what did your musical journey look like? Were you trying out DJing before this?
I was.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You took a DJ course.
Yes, at DJ School Amsterdam. Yeah, I did. Because when I decided to do it, and I don't actually remember how that came about. It was... I do. My boyfriend, again, he had a little console. Because he was, he was, of course, inspired by Joseph Copiati and Adam Bear and wanted to try some mixing out. So he had a little console. So basically, I just completely took over the show. Poor guy. I was just like, teach me how to do it.
You bought me some gifts.
Yeah. I was like, oh, great.
Perfect. Yeah.
So, yeah, we started basically just practicing a bit together. And I think from that, I was just thinking, okay, I live in Amsterdam. One of the best cities to try out a job or a career like this. My dad used to be in the industry, both my parents, because they were organizing events together. Not that he has like contacts or something that could help me out or whatever, and I wanted to do it on my own anyways, back to the stubborn thing. So, but still, it definitely ran in the family in a certain way. So I thought, basically, I just thought, why not? That was it. And then the most logic step would be that my dad would teach me how to play. But that's, if I would then touch the needles wrong or something, it would be like a discussion. And he was just like, you know what, you have to learn it professionally from the start. And then I started looking for courses.
Are you similar to your dad?
Yeah.
I could just sense it.
Yes. Very similar.
Don't fuck with my turn.
Yeah. No, we both knew that was just gonna end up me crying, him feeling guilty for making me cry. Let's not. Let's not.
And have you always been a person who's like, if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, again, that came later in life, actually. So, because when I was first like a teen and kind of angsty and in my puberty and angry at the world and whatnot, that didn't really come through so much. But as soon as my confidence increased, that also increased. And since I was 18, I knew 100% that, okay, I'm going to give it all I got.
When you were 18, yeah. So like 7 years ago.
7 years ago, yeah. And I did.
Yeah, how did you do that? Or like, because...
That's such a good question. Yeah, it's such a good question. I get asked this question frequently, of course, but I think the one thing I always say is that there was no other option for me. There was no plan B. I didn't think of like, okay, but if this doesn't work out, then I can always do this.
No.
That wasn't, it was just like, there's no other option, so duh. So that's how I approached it. And I think that's what made it come to fruition.
So you started your SoundCloud or?
Yeah, I started SoundCloud, and of course the DJ school did help a lot to just learn it in a very mathematical approach. So then you don't have to, you can then kind of be more creative because you don't have to think so much about how am I going to get the two tracks mixed together, because you just learn it mathematically with the correct timing and very logical approach. I mean, you can barely not go wrong. Yeah. So that's how it started, and then I started up a SoundCloud, and I was just approaching all kinds of pages for podcasts. I was also approaching, of course, smaller collectives if they would like to book me to showcase my sound. So I did that for the first 3 years, I think. I did everything, like from 18 until 21. I was doing everything just myself. And I even had an event series at a certain point.
Oh,
yeah,
amazing.
At just like a tiny club in Amsterdam, and I was the door bitch as well.
Oh wow,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Do you like that kind of job?
Yeah, it was quite fun. Yeah, it was quite funny. So I did that for a bit, but that was not really. I mean, I was a little bit too young, and it's a lot to take on your plate to do all of that. So that's how that kind of started.
What jobs did you have on the side at the start?
I think the first job I had on the side was working in the cinema. It was
that
really
sounds fun.
It's
yeah,
really
everyone
fun.
who works at the cinema say they love it.
I would really recommend any person like that age between 16 and 19-ish cinema.
Yeah,
it's so fun.
Maybe even later. Maybe I'm gonna
maybe
try
even. I mean, why not?
Everyone seems to love it so much.
It's really fun,
and you can watch how many movies you want, and you even get popcorn in some places.
Yes.
I think that sounds fantastic.
Yes, and a super usually quite large team with a lot of young people. Not necessarily young, but kind of at least a little bit in your age group. So you make a lot of friends, and you have all kinds of fun after work activities. You see, it was really, really great time. So that was the first, I think, one of the first jobs I had on the side. And then after that, I started working as a barista at coffee company. And eventually I became a manager at coffee company. So yeah,
you are like aiming a bit higher,
I
guess, in life generally. But like, speaking of movies, is that a big interest of yours?
I wish it was. I wish I was that kind of cool girl that was like, and that I really like know like directors and stuff. Like, no, I don't. No. Unfortunately, no. But I do love a good movie. I love a good movie.
Yeah. But it's not anything that inspires you, like films or like the when you produce.
Yeah, the cinematography. That can definitely inspire me. Like when it's really well filmed, or like, I don't know, you could just see the director's creative eye. I definitely enjoy seeing that. So yeah, for sure. And also the music under movies, really good sometimes.
Yeah, is that something you'd like to do sometime?
I would love to. Yeah, like Junkie XL is and was a very famous DJ and producer, and he evolved into actually making basically all of the action films that you see, like his music is under it. So I think that's really cool. Yeah. Who knows one day, but I think it's a lot harder than it seems.
Yeah, I hear so. Yeah, I hear so. Yeah, we were having Marcel Detman on in the magazine when the release of the Matrix film was out, and he did like the soundtrack, one of the soundtracks.
Really?
Yeah, and he was saying like, shit, it was so hard. Like he thought he owned it at first, and he was like, made it, and showed them, and they were like, no, no. It's like, oh shit, I gotta learn this to the minimal, and it just like delved into it and just had to. Yeah, but anyways.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it is very. It definitely can be inspiring. For sure.
Yeah. Was there ever a moment between 7 years and now that you felt that like, fuck, I made it? Like now, finally, it's like something happened,
Honestly, probably the last like 6 months, I've been feeling that, because before that it was just, my boyfriend can attest to this. Every person close to me can attest to this. I was always like doubting it. I was always like, even though I knew that I had it in me, I was like, yeah, of course, I'm gonna do everything I can, but I just was always like, it's so hard and it's oversaturated, and how can I jump through, like how can I, peek through the mass, and that was definitely challenging sometimes, and especially with the lockdown in between. But I was just like, no, I'm not gonna let this bring me down. But it was definitely challenging. So even though I'm like confident and ambitious, there was always kind of like ups and downs. So there was moments where it was like the buzz starting to go, and I was like, yeah, and then the buzz kind of went down a bit, and I was like,
yeah, that's like 2 steps forth and 1 back all the time, a little
kind
bit.
of, yeah. But I think that's the whole process. I think it's a part. Now when I look back at it, it's a very important part of the process, because sometimes when you have those kind of, I would not call it a breakdown, but you're just like really frustrated and like, oh, why can I not make it happen? And I just had to also realize that I was super young. You have a lot to learn. I also, because I was not really going out, the networking took a little bit longer, but I really wanted to do it at my own pace and in my own nature.
Yeah.
So that just all took a bit longer. But now, seeing who I have around me, and the connections are much stronger because of that.
Yeah, this is interesting. So you didn't go out and network. How did you network, or how do you feel that you kind of finally reached out?
It sounds a bit cliche, but I also think at a certain point that the music speaks for itself. And I just always thought that, if someone hasn't heard me playing yet, or they just see like a few videos on Instagram, you don't get it. You don't then really get it. And I just knew for sure that like one time there's going to be just a moment in time where they'll actually see me play. And I think that already speaks for itself most of the time. But of course I did go to events every now and then, but I just didn't go to party.
Yeah.
So I came in quite early, stayed for maybe 2 hours, and just like, I didn't also want to be that person that goes to people and it's like, hey, I want to check out my sets, So it just wanted to happen. I wanted everything to happen organically. So if there was a subject that I could start a conversation about with someone that I wanted to get to know better, then I did that. And if not, then not.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you seem like you know where you want to head, but you're not gonna ask anyone for the road, kind of like,
No, it's definitely not not my main approach or like my priority. Because I have my own road thought out. But of course it's important to network. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and act like it's not important, but I just wanted to do it at my own pace. That was very important to me. And because many times people were saying like, yeah, but you have to like, and they said also, even sometimes people have actually said to me that, yeah, but you make the best connections at after parties. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense, but thanks. Like I was just like, okay.
That doesn't make any sense. You're right. Yeah,
maybe.
It's true.
I mean, maybe, yeah, okay, maybe we'll have a bonding moment because you're both totally like, in high spirits. Who knows? Could be. But I wanted to do it in my own way. And I do think that because I did it that way, that the connections that I have now are very serious, like actual real connections.
Yeah, you have also been thanking Amelie Lens sometimes for like helping you reach out to a broader crowd. What do you feel like when it comes to you? Do you also have that kind of energy or like will to lift smaller?
I would absolutely,
female maybe.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. Whenever I can, I love to support what doesn't even have to be like local talents or just anybody, even if they're more known than me. I just want to support anybody that I can, of course. But that's definitely something I'd love to do if I have like a bigger platform. I mean, it's weird. I don't know like where my platform stands at the moment. I mean, I'm just doing my thing and happy to see that people are enjoying it. But the platform that Amelie has, if I would ever even come like close to that, like of course I would try to support smaller artists as much as I could. I think it's really awesome that she does it, and I think many people should. Many more should.
I think also it's such a joy to find new talents.
Yeah.
And if you have the goal of like like lifting what you think is good, things get so much more exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
Like it's the teacher mentality, it's the giving mentality, and like, really.
Yeah, I'm really grateful for everybody's support. And I mean, Amelie, I got in touch with 6 years ago, or maybe 5.5 years ago. So it was shortly after I started playing, and then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna learn to produce as well. As if it's like not one of the hardest things, but okay. So I just started producing things, and it was really bad, really, really bad. But she did take the time to listen to them, so that's really nice. Because I remember she had set up like an email to send demos to, and it was just going to be like a limited time email. Like for like 1 month you could send things, or maybe even only 1 week, and then the email would be taken offline. And she took the time to listen and get back to me, and then she gave me her personal email because she said I can hear potential in it, so here's my personal email, and just keep on sending me things, and who knows. And then I think about 3 or 4 years after that, she booked me, or she was supposed to book me for Exhale hosting at Awakenings during ADE, but that was in 2020 when so I was like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
But then came the release. So instead of the event, she then decided to create the label Exhale, and then I released on the first VA, which was already, I think, October 2021. Already a while ago, or 2020 even. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Already a while ago. Long time ago.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, I'm going to jump a little bit, but you have been in Berlin a couple of times.
Yeah.
Or like a lot of times.
A lot of times.
And even speak some German. Very impressive.
I'm trying.
With the taxi driver, at least.
With the taxi driver.
So, I mean, it's basic conversations, but still.
Yeah, they appreciate it.
Yeah. They do.
Yeah.
It's true.
Even just a Dankeschön or, you know.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But like, if you would compare the Berlin scene and the Amsterdam scene, how do they differ, and are there any similarities, would you say, or like?
Oh yeah, that's very interesting topic. I think there's a very big divide actually. I'm not sure if this is 100% the case, so I don't want to overstep, but I do think from what I've seen, it seems to be a little bit more of a community in Holland, especially in Amsterdam, but I'm biased, of course, because I'm from there and I know all the smaller collectives and all of this, but it really seems more of a community in Amsterdam. But I'm not 100% sure if that's the case, but it just feels here, I think also because Berlin is really known as like just like the techno capital of Europe, you know, and I think it's maybe even oversaturated here, which makes it maybe a little bit underappreciated, but I'm again not 100% sure. But sometimes it feels like, because it's just so normal here, you know, that it goes a little bit underappreciated, the effort that it takes to make a party and all the people involved and the light jockeys and the people at the bar, the people at the door, and just everybody involved. And I do think that, at least from what I've seen in Amsterdam, there's a lot of support for each other, from the biggest collectives like Awakenings to the smaller collectives that are just now making a name. And I, especially now, like also the last Awakenings, there was 25 new faces on the lineup, which I think is amazing. And that's really due to, because I know the backstory, and I know that it's because there's conversations happening behind the scenes between smaller collectives and heads at Awakenings. Like, okay, what can we do? How can we work together? You know? So
amazing.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, and I really also think that in a way, the pandemic kind of progressed that even further. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, because in Berlin, a lot of the small clubs, they didn't make it, and it's been real tough.
Yeah.
So,
and a huge example is Radion, or Radion. It's, again, I'm biased because it's my favorite club to play, but really they have pushed so many collectives. They are very open to new collectives to host their parties there, and it's almost always a huge success. So they have also played a major role in gluing everybody together, actually. And that's hats off to them, I would say. It has really brought the whole community closer. So I think that's, at least for me, one of the biggest differences what I notice. And otherwise, in some ways it's pretty similar, I guess, like the frequency of parties and the how do you say, the amount, the availability.
Is Sundays also the day in Amsterdam?
No, I would no actually.
No.
Again, depending. It's depending. I think before the pandemic it was more. You definitely had more successful Sunday parties as well, and now it's a little bit less. After the pandemic, I did notice a little decrease in that.
Yeah.
Definitely less than in Berlin.
All right. Yeah. Fair enough.
yeah. That's one thing that I love definitely about Berlin, that it's just like it's just endless.
Yeah. Like, yeah. It is, you're playing, it's Sunday today when we're recording, and you're on at 3.
12:30 until 3.
12:30 until 3.
Yeah.
Still. And then there's one after you still playing, also playing.
I think so, yeah.
So, yeah.
And what's also a big difference, by the way, is that prime time in Berlin is like 5 until 8 a.m. That's almost like prime time here. In Holland, it's not.
No.
No.
Yeah. What's prime time?
Anywhere between 12 and 4, I would say.
Yeah. Okay, sounds like regular.
Like a regular
country.
Again, depending, because, at vault sessions, it can go... They have a little bit more this vibe where people just go on and on and on and on. But I would say, just generally speaking, it's a little bit earlier in Holland. And here it's like, at least in Berlin, it's endless.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That's what we love.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of endless, and like, you start traveling a lot now. How is that for you? Like, what's your view on like keeping up with the life pace and these things?
It's been a little bit of an adjustment, for sure. But I always say, because this is also a conversation I often have with taxi drivers as well, among many other people. But that I just cannot complain, because this is what I've always wished for. So whatever happens, delays, cancelled flights, cancel whatever, I'm just like, it's fine. Because I get to do the best thing in the world, for me at least. So I just cannot complain. However frustrating sometimes it gets, I'm just like, no, but I'm blessed. I can just travel to a place and share my music, meet really nice people. I cannot complain. And just been a little bit of adjustment with sharing my time, I want to spend enough time with my partner. I want to see my friends, but I also want to produce music. I want to practice vinyl. I want to just also like live. So so that has been a little bit of an adjustment. But example, if I'm not traveling on Sunday, it's really, really very, how do you say, mild. Like if Sunday I'm already home, that's, you don't even notice anything then during the week. But if you're traveling until Monday, then it's always a bit of an adjustment in the week, because then it's like Tuesday, Wednesday, you're chilling at home and like readjusting everything. And then Thursday, Friday, I'm already preparing for the weekend. And then the week just flies by.
Yeah. Okay. But I know this question wasn't in there, but I'm just thinking because I'm curious.
Of course.
So when you prepare a set, how much do you prepare beforehand, and how much do you like freestyle and just feel the crowd and where everyone's at and these things? Everything
is improvised these days. Yeah, everything. Yeah, like when I started out, I definitely prepared sets, because I was very, very nervous, and I was like, okay, at least I want to just know that these tracks worked well together. And also because I started so young and ambitious, like I didn't give myself the time to just practice at home and like chill, I was just right away like, I'm gonna perform, So then of course I prepared everything to a T, but now everything is improvised. Depending, sometimes with example, an opening set, then I prepare at least a playlist of tracks that would fit in an opening, because I very, very rarely play opening, so I don't dare to like totally freehand that. But otherwise, everything is just improvised. I have all my history playlists with me, so I know what I then played, and then I remember, oh yeah, those two were not really slay, and then I just like go from there. Okay, cool. I know there's also been a conversation about like, well, I know some DJs who have been talking about like, DJs who play bangers in the midst of a set, like, of course the crowd is gonna enjoy it and cheer for it, but like we are there to show them better music. Yep. What's your view on this? I'm also a little bit torn, but I did recently, because first I was like, I felt the pressure, I had some times that I played at places where I just thought like, okay, I'm gonna just adjust my sound, I still played what is in my margin, but it was definitely adjusted to what I think they're gonna like. And I think to a certain degree that's not bad, because in the end our job is to make them happy. But because my dad always said that, Grace, the sets that you play, like my real sound, he said that, trust me, if you play that also for 1,500, 2,000 people, they're gonna love it, trust me. I was like, I don't know, because I think, like, I was always thinking, like, with a lot of people, you have to play bangers. But just this weekend, actually, yesterday afternoon, I was playing at a festival where I started quite with an empty tent, and I really played what I love, and it was full at the end, and it was like, I think maybe 1,500 people or something, and it worked really well. So I'm starting to believe that it is our job also to educate. I think I don't know, I don't want to call it educate them, because I don't want to underestimate their knowledge. Who knows, they're very well educated in the music category. But now I'm realizing that, actually, as long as you're confident about it, I think is the most important. And that's what was missing from me before. I wasn't confident enough to do it, so then I just went for a little bit of a safer option. And I think it's not bad. It's not, in the basis, it's not a bad thing to do, I would say. But once you feel confident enough to really push what you think is going to work well and what you believe in, then I'd say do it. Because most of the 9 out of 10 times, you're probably going to love it. And otherwise, you can just adjust. You just then adjust if it's not working, I think.
Yeah. And I love that. Like, I mean, also, I hear this from, like, a lot of different professions, but some people who say, like, I'm trying to, like, do something that I hear is working. That's not, like, what made them take the next step. It was to do why they, to create what you love. So what you said about it doesn't surprise me at all. Like,
no, it's sorry. No, but it's totally true, and it's you're basically selling yourself short if you choose the safe option. But I do understand if you're not there yet, confidence-wise, that you will opt for that option, because I did too. So I'm not gonna, like, judge it or bash it or whatever. And sometimes maybe I'll still be in the situation where I think, ooh, I don't know, and then I'll just choose the bangers, but I'm definitely gonna try to just really share because I'm booked to do that, actually, as well. I'm booked to share my approach to this thing that we call DJing. And I should respect the crowd enough also in that way to not underestimate them, and to trust that they will maybe understand and even enjoy what I'm there to present.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And so, like, you've been going to a lot of drum and bass festivals first, and then you switch it up to techno festivals.
Yeah.
But so you have, like, really seen the development of the scene and how quickly it's grown these past years. Mm-hmm. What's your view on the growth, and, like, are there any scares you have for that?
Yeah, I mean, a few months ago, yes. A few months ago, I was definitely, like, almost, sometimes eating myself up about it, I also saw the conversation between Charles and Aladico, which I recognized a lot in what they were saying. And it was also kind of, in a way, comforting to know that it was, like, not only me, But I already knew that by that point, because I've had many conversations with promoters and other DJs and about this. So I already knew that, okay, I'm not the only one who's, like, seeing this and thinking, like, what's going on, guys? But I definitely did have scares, because it's for me, it's, like, just almost it's, like, a little bit painful to sometimes see, that there's I don't want to shame or, like, again, like, judge anybody, but I see certain artists just playing the same tracks over and over and over and over again. Like, these are the tracks that work, so-called, these TikTok, I don't want to say, but TikTok techno tracks, kind of. And that kind of pains me a little bit, because I'm like, it's supposed to be a creative process together. And, also the lineup, it's, like, supposed to be that we are creating something together, and not, it's like one showman and another showman and another, and that's what it sometimes seems like, that it's just like like a 1.5 hour just show, hands up in the air. And I don't know. I just don't really know if that's where we're supposed to be going. But who am I to say, you know?
Do you feel that we may miss out on something?
I feel like the crowd is missing out. You know, I mean, yeah, that's one thing. I mean, I'm still able to do what I love. I'm still playing for crowds. I'm every weekend, you know, like that's not the problem. But I think it's a bummer for them, you know. But they seem to enjoy it. So again, then who am I to judge that? So that's what really I've had so many thoughts about it. Like, yeah, but
sometimes if someone leads, we follow, and maybe that's what you're saying in other words. That like, if you can see on social media how you're supposed to do something,
you do it.
Then maybe you do it, because we're not always Grace when she was 13. Not everyone can be.
No, it's true. And I feel like because music, it's so therapeutic. It's such a spiritual experience and therapeutic experience. And if they're not searching for that right now, and maybe it is, but again, I don't know, maybe that music and that kind of bombastic blah blah blah, maybe that is therapeutic for them, but I cannot imagine that it is. But you know, I have to also we have many conversations about it with fellow DJs, you know, that they're also young, the same way I was when I went to like melodic techno parties. You know, you have to kind of start somewhere, but because it just became so popular, I'm just afraid that they're maybe not gonna search further than that and miss out on different experiences. But I'm sure that that's not the case. I'm sure that just the same as all of us, you start somewhere, you start to dig deeper, and
some things one cannot control, and it's easier than to just trust that, like, you know, yes.
But it's definitely been a little bit like, there was a few moments where I was a little bit anxious, you know, like what does that mean for us, so to say, that's not playing that certain sound. And I'm sure we all know, I'm not going to specify because I'm sure we all know what sound I'm talking about, so I'm not going to specify. But that made me wonder, you know, like is there space for us then still, or is it going to completely take over? Because especially in Holland, it's really, really big. It's like really, really taking over the scene, where even some promoters have said that, it's like, I have to book it, you know, we have to also sell tickets. And I'm like, oh, really? And I'm like, I get it, but it's like, oh, that's like, again, a pain, you know, in my heart, because it's maybe not even so much what they want to see, but it works. The crowds are happy. So that's what we do. But I'm happy. I mean, there's always positive sides, and I'm also happy that there are collectives, many collectives also, that choose to not do that at all, and it's working very well, and it also sells out, and also the crowds are happy, you know. So there is space for everyone.
Yeah,
there is space for everyone.
There are many smaller festivals too.
Yeah.
But you also mentioned the therapeutic. How has it been therapeutic for you?
Yeah. I've definitely, because I quit my full-time job last year, actually. Yeah. In
Congratulations.
May. It's almost officially 1 year. Thank you. And since then, I think I've felt the most myself since ever. You know, so in that way, it already has been very therapeutic. I don't think I've ever been more myself than now. Almost right after I quit, but the longer I was away, the longer I've been doing this now full time, the more I just completely 100% feel myself. So that's been very therapeutic. And also the connection, that it made my connection with my parents so much stronger. I mean, since I was a teen, you know, it was rough also for my parents to deal with me as a teen, you know. And the older I got, the connection grew stronger and stronger. But especially now, the last year, it's just been the best ever. And that's also due to music, because we can connect so intensely on that with both my parents. So that's been really beautiful as well. And just to the amount of lovely messages that I receive, like sometimes I'm even thinking like, wow, like it's crazy. But I'm really, really happy that I apparently evoke that kind of emotion in people, because that's exactly what I want. That's exactly my goal with my music and what I play and the performance that I give. is to evoke these kind of feelings in people, and that it will actually stick with them, and that it was like an emotional experience, you know, and not just like, yeah, we go hard, you know, just like, yeah, but really in your soul, you know, the same way as I'm giving my little piece of my soul to you, you know. So that's been very freeing, I would say. So yeah, that's how it's been therapeutic for me.
Thank you so much for sharing all of this.
Of course.
It's been so nice. Is there anything that you want to add that you can think about?
Not necessarily.
No? Okay. I think it was a lovely conversation. And I do have, before the extra material, a little section of this or that.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
So you let me know one of them, which one you prefer.
Okay.
Hugs or kisses?
Hugs.
Yeah? Amsterdam coffee shops or German spetties?
Oh my god. Amsterdam coffee shop, sorry.
Well.
Yes.
I think no one's gonna judge you. Meditation or hypnosis?
Meditation.
Yeah, do you do it?
No, I should. I should.
Los Angeles or Tbilisi?
Tbilisi. Yeah, 100%.
Politics or music?
Well, music, but both actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you feel they can be combined?
I mean, I feel so, yeah. I know that there's a lot of controversy about that because many people say that politics should not be involved with music, but music is politics. But that's another conversation, I think.
Yeah, very interesting one,
yes,
I think,
for sure.
Also. Okay, micromanaging or going with the flow?
Going with the flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not a control freak?
Yes, but also no. But micromanaging is useless. But managing is good. But micromanaging, nah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Seems like you found a way. Because I also have this idea that you are very, like, you know...
Absolutely. Yes.
Particular.
Yes, I'm very meticulous, but I also have a certain... I can just go with the flow as well. And because that's I mean, I don't want to be too like, ooh, but the universe, and I trust that the universe will put me on the right path. And even if some things happens or delays or something, I'm like, okay, this is apparently meant to happen. This is meant to happen. It's fine. But I try to prepare as much as I can to prevent certain things happening. So in a way I'm managing, but in a way I'm also going with the flow. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You don't want to leave too much out for the unknown.
No.
But you still are not going to be like...
No, I really try not to stress when things don't go how I maybe planned before.
Yeah.
Because apparently that's just how it then had to go. And usually after that, I then realized, like, oh, it had to happen like that because otherwise I wouldn't have bumped into that person or I wouldn't have done that or whatever.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Festivals or clubs?
Clubs.
Clubs.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just a different vibe.
Yeah. I think festivals is nice because you don't have to stay up late. So I'm very fresh and I'm very energetic and I'm very socially capable. And sometimes when you're tired in the night, that's a little bit less. But the vibe of the club, it's 100% incomparable to festivals.
Yeah. Hot dogs or Caesar salad?
Caesar salad. It's one of my favorite. I love it. Yeah.
Nice. You don't like hot dogs?
It's okay.
Yeah.
But Caesar salad is bomb.
Yeah? I haven't been eating it for such a long time, Caesar salad.
I love all kinds of ones.
Maybe I'm gonna start again.
I even love like the supermarket prepackaged. I'm like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, banging. Yeah.
Well, everything with cheese, I would say.
Yeah, exactly.
Psychology or spirituality?
Oh man, I can't decide between those. Both.
Yeah.
Like equal.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you have like crystals and things home?
I don't actually.
No?
No.
You're not so much into the things.
Not so much things, more
the sense.
Feeling and vibrations and energies.
But do you have any way that you work with it, like, you know, like I don't know what that could be actually.
Not really even that much. I'm not even like such an active manifester or something like that.
Exactly, that's one.
Yeah, not even. I just, but I am very interested in it. But I don't actively do those kind of things that much. I'm not really sure why, but that just hasn't sparked my interest that much.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Introvert or extrovert?
Yeah, that's also a funny one. Because I'm basically an introverted extrovert. Kind of.
Yeah.
Because I definitely need to recharge my batteries. Also, like, I also prefer introverts most of the time. But I can twist the knob and be kind of extroverted and social and whatnot. But I definitely need to recharge my batteries after.
Yeah.
Like go into hibernation for like 1.5 days.
I feel you. Yeah, that must be very important. Like after a weekend, then is the first thing you do on Monday often like studio? Yeah,
studio. Like first, just chill. Definitely studio, and definitely some hugs with my partner. You know, just need to like revamp. But I definitely need to kind of go into isolation for 24 hours after a very social weekend.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. This was so lovely.
Thank you for having me.
I really love this conversation and everything you share.
Thank you.
I think this was such a great conversation.